Hey everybody, welcome to The Process with BST, and today we have myself and Aaron here to talk about a highly debated topic of weighted ball programs. ASMI just came out with a new study about the analysis of weighted ball exercises for pitchers. There were 25 high school and collegiate baseball pitchers who experienced with weighted ball throwing. They were tested with an automated motion capture system. Each participant performed 3 trials of 10 different exercises, pitching with 4, 5, 6, and 7 ounce balls from a mound. And then there were flat ground crow hop throws with 4, 5, 6, and 7 ounce baseballs, and flat ground hold exercises with 14 and 32 ounce baseballs. So today we're lucky enough to have Aaron, who went through a weighted ball program in college, so he's going to tell you about his experience.
Yeah, my senior year of college, I went through a weighted ball throwing program. And for those of you who don't know what a weighted ball throwing program consists of, the program I did was it lasted a span of around 3 months. It was 3 days a week for about 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes you to get warmed up, how long it takes you to get cooled down. And at the end of those 3 months of working my butt off and going 3 days a week, just working as hard as I can, I only saw about a mile an hour difference. But the biggest thing I saw was at the end of each session, my arm was so fatigued. So forearms, biceps, my scaps, everything that's involved in the throwing process was just gassed, because you throw these balls that range from 4 ounces all the way up to 10 ounces, and it's not normal. So, and I'm a big proponent of weightlifting producing power, because I feel that in order to be a good athlete, to produce power, to throw hard, to hit far, you have to be strong. So what I found was that at the end of each session, my arm was hanging. So when I hop in the weight room to get my strength work in, I noticed that, my forearm, when I was going into deadlifts, my forearm would give out when I'm trying to lift the weight. Or when I'm bench pressing, my shoulder wouldn't be stable, and I wouldn't be able to go do max weight in order to get stronger, in order to throw harder. So, a 1 mile an hour difference for losing
Possible strength gains.
Yeah, possible strength gains, possible power production. It's just you gotta weigh it. It's if you're in the camp like I am with strength and conditioning, I feel that being able to and being ready to hop in the weight room and giving it your 100% might be worth more than going out there and throwing these heavy balls.
Absolutely. And my question for you is, do you think if you lacked muscle in your scaps, your rotator cuff, your bicep, tricep, your forearm muscles, do you think your arm would have been able to hold up throughout the weighted ball program?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been building up those muscles that contribute to throwing velocity, or throwing in general, the bicep, the scap, the forearms.
Even the chest.
Yeah, even the chest, right?
The pec major.
Yeah, as we know, bench press is good for pitchers. I like it a bunch for pitchers. I like it. So when you already have that strength and you go and do a weighted ball exercise, it's tough for me to say, hey, I would have gotten hurt if I didn't have these muscles, because I don't know. So I think that the conclusion and the results of the ASMI study will lead us to a better conclusion of, okay, like, can you do this without having strength, or will you get hurt if you don't have strength?
Right. Awesome. So we're going to get to the conclusion of their study. So they came up with that there were no differences in arm and trunk velocities between throwing a standard baseball and an underweight baseball of 4 ounces. And while arm and trunk velocities steadily decreased as ball weight increased from 5 to 32 ounces. So, and what we're doing here is that we want to increase the trunk and arm velocities.
Definitely. And as we know, with the NCBI came out with an article that states that higher trunk velocities correlate with higher pitching velocities. So why would we do an exercise that is decreasing our trunk velocities and arm velocities when in fact we want to increase our trunk velocities?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, as flat ground throwing produces increased internal rotation velocity as well as elbow varus torques. So, and they said these exercises may be beneficial, but may also be stressful and risky. So when you're weighing the risk and reward,
yeah, it's tough. And also the flat ground throwing, of these weighted ball exercises. When I did it, it was all flat ground throw. It was all run as fast as you can up to the target and throw the ball as hard as you can. And I believe that exercise does not replicate a pitching throw. Maybe, okay, this program might be good for outfielders. We don't know. But for pitchers, I think that when you're trying to go from 0 to 100 as fast as you can, a style of, okay, let's run up for a second or 2 seconds and then throw the baseball on a flat ground versus a mound might not be beneficial. And if it's increasing stress on your arm, and ASMI is saying it's risky, it's probably risky. If it just might not be worth it, the reward might not be worth the risk. So.
Yeah, and we at BST, we really stress strength. And when, just like Aaron said earlier, if you want to throw hard, you have to be strong. And when you're stronger, and when you're in the weight room, when you're doing all this stuff, you decrease your risk of injury. Don't get me wrong, you have to be in a situation, a program where all the lifts are done correctly. You're taught the correct technique and there's supervision, because there are programs out there, strength and conditioning programs, that they don't really have because they're dealing with a lot of kids at once. So it's tough to teach these exercises to, say, 20 kids at one time. So you should be in a program where it's more individual, so you can get the technique of, especially the Olympic lifts, because those are lifts that could be dangerous if not taught correctly. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing is with these weighted ball exercises is that it concentrates and it focuses on the arm producing the velocity. And we know that we need to produce as much force as we can in order to throw hard, right? How do we produce force? Through the ground, right? We have to produce force through the ground because we know Newton's second law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So what do we have to push off of besides our rear leg, and once we land, our front leg? So I think that if you're not teaching to increase and produce velocity from your rear leg and then bracing up on your front leg, and you're focusing on your arm, you're doing it wrong.
Yep. So because it all comes from the ground up, and especially, I mean, with our experiences at BST, I mean, we incorporate a lot of our lifts, and we have seen bigger velocity gains in just becoming stronger at younger ages. We've seen guys gain 6 to 10 miles an hour. And we believe that is the best way to go about increasing velocity.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that is the topic. That is huge right now. Weighted balls, huge idea that's going around. A lot of people are doing it. But it's nice to see that ASMI just recently came out with a new study, because there have been studies about throwing weighted balls for a while. But it's good to come out now because it's such a big deal in the baseball world. So that's the topic. That's going to be keep on being debated.
Yeah, and let us know what you have to say about it. Let us know. We love talking to you guys. We love conversating. We love debating the topic of anything baseball related.
Definitely. So make sure to follow us at Facebook, Instagram at Baseball Specific Training, on Twitter at the BS Training, and Snapchat to see what we do on a daily basis at BST Training. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon and creating more content.